What's happening, guys? It's Cooper Carter here for G66, and on this week's Fractal Friday, I'm going to show you how to quickly dial in a great synth lead sound that you can either mix with your normal lead or use on its own. So 2 weeks ago on Fractal Friday, we brought you a tone tour / rig rundown with Aaron Marshall from Intervals, and he demonstrated a really nice lead tone that had a synthesizer mixed in with his normal lead. And a lot of you messaged me asking, how do you get that kind of tone? Well, the good news is it's really not that complicated, and I'm going to show you guys just how quickly you can dial in a really nice synthesizer on either the FM3, the FM9, or the FM3. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so I'm starting off here with the 100% stock Cameron CCV FM3 preset, which is based around the Cameron CCV 2C amp, which is similar to what Aaron is playing live in his Axfex. Now, when you pull up that preset, it's going to look a little different because I've just gone ahead and deleted all of the blocks that we don't need and turned on some of the blocks that are already set by default so that this preset will transfer to any of you all's Axfex 3s, FM3s, or FM9s, whatever you have, and it'll come up easily. And what I've got dialed up is just a big chorus delay-filled lead. And I can very easily add a synthesizer either alongside that lead underneath it or completely replace that lead with a synth block. I'm going to simply add a synthesizer block in here. Now, if I were building this preset out to only mix synth in with an existing lead tone, I might put this on a parallel line just for the visual reference of having one lead line and one synth line. But since I'm trying to do both the synth soloed and the synth with the lead, I'm going to put it on the same line in series. The sound is going to be exactly the same. We just won't have to mute and unmute the lead line to check out the sound. So let's do a crash course in the synth block. This is a monophonic synthesizer, which means you only really want to play single notes. Chords aren't going to track as well. And you've got 3 voices here. The first one is set to a triangle, tracking the pitch and the envelope. If we set this to off, we now have a synthesizer that is constantly playing and not tracking anything, our envelope or our pitch. If we set it to envelope only, when we play, it's going to turn on the synth, but we're only going to hear one note. And if we set this to pitch and envelope, we've got a synth that follows our pitch and our playing. Now for a lead, I'm going to set this to the sawtooth sound, which is a little more aggressive than what we had before. And we can adjust how that synthesizer sounds by using this filter frequency and the Q. So I'll play one note. And what that's doing is setting a cutoff frequency for the low pass filter of this sawtooth oscillator. I can also set the Q or the resonance. So but I like to set the Q to default and then filter the tone to where I want it. So that's good. Let's take the mix down to, let's say, 50%, and we'll be able to hear that synth alongside our lead. But we can make this a little more interesting by slightly tuning down this lead a little bit to separate it a bit. And we're going to actually pan it 50% to the left. Now I'm going to go to voice 2, pull up another sawtooth, make sure to also set this one to pitch and envelope. And then I'm going to set a slightly different filter frequency and tune it up just a couple of cents. And then I'm going to set this to 50% on the right. Now, if I go back to 100% on the mix, we can hear those 2 oscillators now working together. So now, let's bring this mix down to, say, 35%. And we've got 2 synths, one on each side, and our lead running up the middle. Now you may want to raise or lower that a little bit to fit your playing, but let's check out one other very cool trick. I'm going to right-click the mix. I'm going to set the modifier source here to the pitch follower. And now I'm going to adjust the scale to maximum so we get a really aggressive curve and adjust this midpoint up to, let's say, 70, 75%. And now when I play low on the neck, I get no synth at all, but when I come up to the top, I get 100% mix of the synthesizer. So let's set the maximum range of this to be the top end of our mix before, so around 35%. And now at the bottom of the neck, we get our chords. And at the top end of the neck, we've got our synth lead. So I'm going to save this preset for you guys with that on, but of course, if you want to turn it off, go ahead and just set the source here to none, and you will have synth all over the neck. So that's how easy it is to add a synthesizer to your lead tone, and I even went one step further and made it track up and down the neck so that it wasn't on chords. But if you want to just add a synthesizer everywhere, I hope you saw that it's very, very straightforward. This is a really cool effect. I've used it on a lot of different tours, and it really gives you that, to borrow a phrase from Aaron's episode, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 vibe, which can be really cool. Now, I had the mix a little higher for demonstration purposes than I might use it on some tours, but it might work for your playing to have the synthesizer that high, or really even higher. If you guys enjoyed this little trick, please do make sure to thumbs up this video, subscribe to G66, and leave me a comment letting me know what you'd like to see in a future episode of Fractal Friday. A lot of these episodes have come from comments that people have left on past videos. As always, if you guys want to dive even deeper into your Fractal audio systems unit, whether that's the FX3, the FM9, or the FM3, make sure to visit classes.coopercarter.com for my complete Fractal Audio Masterclass series. And as always, for all things Fractal audio systems, keep it right here on G66, and I will see you guys next week on Fractal Friday.